Today we're going to be taking a look at Green Hills Country Club website. So we're just going to go through different things so that you can see how to use your website and how it functions. So in order to log in, you're going to go to your website, the URL, and then go to /wp-admin, and this is where you'll log in with your username and password that we've given you. And then you'll be in the back end of your website. The stuff on the right is not really the pertinent information. The main things we're going to be looking at are over here on the left, and we're just going to go right down the line and talk about each important item and how they work. So beginning with updates, these are parts of your website that randomly and occasionally need updated. And you can update plugins here or themes. We do that for you. Regularly, we have someone who comes in and updates all of our websites that we manage and that we've built. So they review them bi-weekly. So you don't have to worry about this. If you have updates, you don't have to worry about it. But you're welcome to update them yourself if you'd like. Moving on to posts, I don't think you have a blog. No, it's just a sample post. So you don't need to worry about posts. You're not using those. Media. This is where all the media that's used on your website, I'm going to go ahead and open a new tab with your website so I can see it. This is where any pictures or documents, logos would be located in your media library, and you have access to your media library within all these other elements where you'd need them. So you often don't use the media library, but that's what it is. Moving on to forms, you have one form for Contact Us. Very straightforward, very simple. But you are able to edit it if you'd like. So you can drag these fields to different places if you want them in a different order. If you want to edit them, just click on them. And then you can change what the label is. So I can change that to say something besides name. I can make them not required or required. I can add different fields by coming over here to standard field. If you want to add a drop down choices, then you would just say, what do you want this? Have you visited us before? I'd have to spell visited, right? And then you could say yes, no, get rid of that other choice, and then make it a required field, and then you click update. And then if you decide you don't want it, just get rid of it. And you can add, radio buttons is pretty much the same thing. You can click on it and edit it. Add more fields if you want. You can add, you already have name, email, phone number on there, but you could do whatever you might want to add, number, checkboxes. You just click on it and then it shows up. And then you can just drag them however you want. And then click update to save. Under settings, I'm okay with leaving this page because we don't need to save it. Under settings, you have notifications where it's going to say who's being notified when a new submission, there's a new submission of this form. So right now it's just sent to the administrator of the website, which will be you once we get an admin login for you. But you can add a new notification if you wanted to, and then add a different email. So if you have a different, like a personal email that you want these to be sent to as well for some reason, or some other employee, you can put their email right here. And how I would do that if I were you would just be duplicate this admin notification and then just change the email. But I'm going to go ahead and delete that for now. So just duplicate it and then go in and then change this email here. And then if you go to entries, that's where your entries are located. And then you can read those and view those. But if you have that set up to email you the form, you'll also receive all of this information as soon as it's submitted. So that's everything under forms. It's just You can come in here and see entries. You can see the notifications here. You can edit it. That's all right there. Moving on to pages. That's what you have under these menu items are your pages. So coming into tournament schedule, let's just start here. What you have is just basically like any word processor like Microsoft Word or anything. It functions the same way. You can bold and underline items, italicize, bullet them, number the list, justify them differently, align them differently. You can hyperlink. If you want to hyperlink to another website, then just paste the URL right there. Or you can link to another page within your site. You can link to your Contact Us page. And then if you decide you don't want that, you can just remove it. And then you'd always come over here and click update when you have made your updates. So let's say, March 25th is passed. You need to come in here and change this. Well, you just can delete it. You can also make things bigger sizes by making it heading 1 or heading 2. And you can add a photo through Add Media from your media library, or you can upload a new file and drag it here or insert it there. And if you do choose to add a picture, you can also align the picture to the center or the left or the right. You can edit it. You can hyperlink your picture to a custom URL. You can align it here. You can change the size to a thumbnail if you want to make it smaller. And you can get rid of it. You can add your form within the page if you want to add your contact form. Contact us. Don't want to display the title or the description, and insert your form. And the short code will show up right there for you. So we'll get rid of that because we don't need it. And I think those are the main things. What other pages do you have? Let's take a look real quick. You have your gallery, rates and membership. I think it's all just, there's not a whole lot of complex things here. If you just ever change your pricing, you can always come in here and just edit it and type it however you want. You've got your gallery here. That's also added through buttons at the top here. It's a FooGallery, and you have this gallery here, and so that's how it was inserted to your page right here, and we'll talk about that next. And I think that's most of the things on your pages. I don't think there's anything. And here's where a picture was added. And I don't think there's anything else we need to talk about with pages. All these are the buttons that you need to be able to use here. So if you ever wanted to update your picture, could always do that or anything like that. So let's move on to FooGallery, which is what I was just talking about on your gallery page. Pretty simple. You can drag these to reorder them however you want, and then you can add more items by coming into upload files, and you would drag and drop or add your files here, and then you'd click whichever ones you wanted to add, and then you'd add media, or you can deselect them as well, which I'm not going to add any to there. But then you would just add pictures and then click update. And you can change these items in here if you want to, but you're probably not going to want to do that. This is just the spacing and things that give it the look that it has. So if you're happy with the way it looks and just want to add new photos, you'll just do that within here. And you can always add a new gallery if you want, and then make a completely new gallery. But again, probably not going to do that, but that's what this function is, and that's how you would do that. And then this short code here can be copied and pasted and put anywhere, but right now it's just on your gallery page because that's where you have it. So let's move on to homepage areas. Under homepage areas, what it's referencing are the areas of your homepage. These different sections here, each little section. So let's start with on your main slider. That's the one that's at the top here. All this has in it is short code for Revolution slider down here, and we'll go over kind of how that works in a few minutes when we get down there. And so what we've got right now is your picture. You've got a slider, then we've got a white background, a photo background, and alternating white backgrounds. So for your Pro Shop, it's just a white background. And how we've got that functioned is text centered. And again, it functions the same way as pages. This is heading 1 to make it that bigger font. And then this is just in paragraph size. And then if you scroll down, we don't have any color selected. We just have padding yes clicked. You always want to click that on homepage areas to give it the room on either side of the words to give it some padding. So under, let's see, a challenging course, it's the same, only is on top of a photo. So background image, come into add file, and we have selected from our gallery one of the photos, and that's how it's used. And you've got padding yes clicked, and then this text is white, and so how that's done is under format, white text is highlighted. And I believe we also have a map, or maybe that's part of the footer. Yeah, I'm guessing that's in the footer. So these are in the correct order under reorder, and then you can reorder them by dragging and dropping them. Or just dragging them rather, however you want, because they're not in the right order here. So if you wanted to add a new homepage area, if you want to add one, so let's make it look kind of how we already have it. Let's make it bigger, and then let's just do a white. So then I'll come to our site here, refresh it, and then there you go. And then I can reorder that under the reorder button. And if I wanted to make it one with the picture in the background, I would add the file, choose a picture I wanted it to be, and then make the text white. Then come in here, and then you'd probably be like, well, that one doesn't look good with this photo because you can hardly read it. So you would you could change the text color if you wanted to add a different color, or you could change the picture if you wanted to keep with the theme of the white words over the top there. So let's go to homepage areas, and I'm going to delete this because we don't need it. And then if you'll notice, it is in your trash. So if I wanted to restore it, if I accidentally deleted it, I could do that, or I can delete it permanently, which is what I'm going to do. So I think those are the main things that will be helpful for you for homepage areas. And like I said, if you just need to update some of the text on there, it's just like any word processor, just like Pages. Moving on to appearance. Well, Genesis is, that's your theme. Don't need to worry about anything there. So let's move on to appearance. Coming under appearance, we need to talk about widgets and menus. Under widgets, we have your header. So what is up here in the top, your header and your menu items. So we have a header, with a little bit of information there, and your menu. Then under footer, we have your Google Map plugin, your Google Map here. So let's say your phone number changes or anything like that, you need to update that information. That's going to be located right here. And you have a visual side and a text side. So this is how it appears, and this is how it's coded with short code and all that stuff. So if you need to edit something, you can edit it from this side, or you can edit it from this side if you know how and want to. So Visual Editor just lets you put text in there. So if you wanted to add more text either to this footer, you wanted to add more text to the footer, you could come to Visual Editor and then select where you wanted it to be in the footer, add widget, and then I can add whatever I want it to say, and then click save. And then if I decide I don't want anything there, or let's say I want to change its location, I want it to be up here, I can drag it, or I can delete it. And the same goes with menus. You have menus created for the top and the bottom. You have a custom menu. You have your bottom navigation menu, and you have your social menu here. So your bottom navigation and your social menu are added there in your footer. You can add, like I said, you can add any of these items if you want to add. You just decide where you want it to go. Again, formatting might not look right if you just add whatever you want, but this is where these items are located. So if you do end up needing to add something, again, probably not going to change, your logo or the wording right here. But if you needed to change something here, that's where it's located. And then under menus, this is where we have you have three menus: your top navigation, your bottom navigation, and your social. So for your social media, let's look at that real quick. These are all added as custom links. So if you end up getting a Twitter or a different type of social media, all you would need to do is copy and paste that navigation label and then change that to Twitter, change this to Twitter, and then copy and paste your, Twitter link, your URL to your personal Twitter, and then add it to the menu. And then it'll be there and it'll show up there. And you can put it wherever you want. You can drag it wherever you want, or if you decide you don't want it, you can remove it. So that's how your social menu works. And then for your navigation menus at the top and the bottom, and you'll want to click Save Menu when you make changes. This has all your pages linked. So these link to all your different pages. You're going to want to go, you can see all your pages. And then if, let's say you create a new page, you would click whatever new page you just created and add it to the menu so that it would show up. But you've got to be careful because you're not going to have a whole lot of room up here for more words and items. So if you wanted to make it a sub-menu item, then it would work like that. And then it won't necessarily show up as is it showing up? It's not showing up for me. Top navigation. It should. Well, I don't know why it's not doing that right now, but weird. Okay, let's get rid of that. Let's try that again. add to the menu. Maybe it recognizes that it's already up there. I'm not sure. Since I'm just doing it for... Well, essentially, if you add a new menu item, it should show up there. And it should show up as a sub menu item. And if you have problems with it and it doesn't, that's something you want to do and it doesn't work out, you can always email us and we'll help you figure that out. But you should be able to, as soon as you add a page, it's going to show up here, click it, and you can add it to your menu. And you can also add it to your bottom navigation menu as well, which I'm trying to see if it's the same. Tournament schedule, gallery. Yeah, it's pretty much the same, just in a different order. So that's how menus work. And you can change the label if you want to. The label will just be whatever the page is titled, but you can change it if you want. So let's move on. Plugins are what I talked about earlier that can be updated sometimes. Users, you do have an admin login. So here's where yours is, and this is where you can come in and change your password if you want, or you can add a new user if you'd like, but you need obviously to be careful who has access to this part of your website. And then tools and settings, these things are not things you need to worry about. Duplicator is something we used to create your site. I don't think we ended up using this. Slider revolution is the next thing we want to talk about. That's what creates this slide at the top of your page. So you have 3 different slides that show up at the top. And, whoops, sorry, accidentally clicked on something. One of my favorite functions on Revolution Slider, especially when you've got the same look on your pages, is the duplicate function. I think this makes things simpler. So let's say you want to create a total new slide, but you want it to have that same look just like this, and you want it to zoom just like this. The very simple way to do that would be to duplicate your slide. This would be how I would recommend it. And then click on that slide and then change whatever you wanted to change. So let's say you want to change the background image. So you pick a new image. Well, I want to change the text too, so I want to say so then you've got the same look and you didn't have to do a whole lot of work there. And then you would click save, and then you would have to go through each of these options. So there's different screen sizes, and you have to make sure that your words fit within the boundaries and that it looks okay. So this one is kind of starting to look not right, and this doesn't fit. So I'd have to make the text smaller. So let's say we want to make it smaller and then make the line height the same size. Then I want to make this a little smaller too. I want to move it down a little so it's on the green there and I can see it. And then you can see how it's aligned, so that you can make these two even. You can move this line, or you can view all of your different elements and then click on them through here, or I can get rid of the elements. whichever one I click on, I can give this a background color, so I can make a box around it and then give it padding. And I can give it a border, a solid border with a little bit of width. Let's change the color so you can see it a little better. I can change the font, which you may not want to do that since you've got a consistent font. I can change the weight of the font though and make it bigger, make it thicker. Want it to be, it is centered, and I can link this to a page. Can link it to any page, so you can link it to any page within your site. So if you're announcing a tournament, and like I said, you want to make sure it fits in through each screen size, and you would need to save it each time you adjust things as you go through each screen size. So let's go ahead and delete that because we don't need it. And let's add a blank slide just to show you what that would look like. Add a blank slide. And you can give it just a color if you want to just put a color in the background. Or you can do an image. So that'll take you to your media library and you can choose an image. And then you would come to add a layer. And so what do you want it to say? And then you want to center it. And I'm trying to remember what font it was. I think it was this. And let's see, we want to make it really big. And I want to add another layer. So I want to add another text layer. So I'm going to center it, and then I'm going to make it the same font. I think that's the same font I just clicked. But I want it to be lower. But I want to make sure it's still centered. I want it to be bigger, but not the same size. And then I want to say, let's say, oh, I don't want it to say welcome. I want it to say and then I want to make a little, I want to add another layer that says learn more, and we'll make it a button. So let's change the font. Let's make it a little bigger. Center it. Let's give it a background color. Give it some padding. Give it a border. You can always look up color codes. And that needs to be Then I want to link it to tournament schedule, save it, and then adjust these wherever I want them to go. And then go through each screen size and make sure that it looks okay. And so it's too big here. So I need to come back to style and make this smaller. Maybe still even a little smaller than that so it fits better. You can animate these items so that they slide in. And then you can adjust the timing of those items down here. And then you can push play so that you see what it looks like. And you can, as long as you've clicked save, then you can preview the slide here. Usually this works, sometimes it doesn't look exactly right, but there you go. Gives you kind of an idea, and you can click through all the screen sizes for what it would look like. And if you want that image to zoom in and out in the way that these do, how they're zooming in, you've got to turn the Ken Burns on and then scale it from this percent to this percent. Kind of stay in the lower 100s range right there, and you can just play around with it. I think that's really the main things here that you need to know. I'm going to go ahead and delete this so that it doesn't show up on your site. And your slider should be back to normal on your homepage. I think those are the main things you need to know about Revolution Slider. Again, that duplicate function is going to be helpful for you. And if you just want to change the text on some of them, this is where that's located. So moving on to WP Google Map, that's how you got your map in the footer under widgets. Down here, you have, so let's look at manage locations. You have one location right now, and it just has your address in there. So let's say you need to add a new location. If something, you add a second location or some sort of something, you will need to add another location. You can come to add location, type in the title and the address, and if you put in the address accurately, it should automatically fill in the latitude and longitude and save location. And then under manage maps, can come to your Green Hills Country Club map. And right now there's only one location to add, but if there was more, you could click the little box for your new location and then click Save Map. And right now it's formatted to look this way. So that's formatted through how much we have the zoom level and the height in pixels. So if you mess around with that too much, it'll change the way this looks, or it can zoom in and out on your map. So you may not want to mess with that, but you're more than welcome to do what you want. But that's where the Google Map is located, and that's what that plugin is for. So that's the last of the things here on the left that we really need to talk about, because that's the last thing that you will really have anything that you need to do with. So again, if you need any additional help, you can always ask us and we would be more than happy to, but this video should get you started and be able to do the main things that you need to do. So yeah, let us know if you need any additional help.